All right. McCullough stood up from where he was crouched by the car bonnet to address his rowdy friends. He was the oldest in the clique, but his beardless chin and lanky build made him look like the youngest. Their chatter quieted down. There's no need wasting time out here arguing like spoiled brats. The sun's already setting, and we gotta get a move on. A short dust-up of bickering followed this statement. I'll flip a coin. Heads, we'll take the route to Kansas and proceed from there. Tails, we'll take the route to Minnesota. McCullough was of Greek descent and believed in the effectiveness of tossing a coin to make decisions. He flipped the coin, and it landed on heads. A collective groan went around the group. McCullough shrugged. If we're gonna go to Kansas, we should camp here tonight and drive out tomorrow, Ashley suggested. I don't even want to go that way. It's a tough drive and boring route, Bruno butt in. We should probably make camp here. I'm craving some marshmallows. Building a bonfire wouldn't be such a bad idea, would it? Tatiana asked. Why don't we flip the coin again and see what the final decision is? Golden offered. Of all the voices, Golden's idea seemed reasonable to McCullough, so he went with it. He flipped the coin, and it still landed on heads. Okay, it's decided. Let's get going. The 5 friends had embarked on a cross-country drive. Now at the border of Pennsylvania, they found it hard to decide on their next destination. I still think we should camp here tonight, Ashley said, reiterating her first suggestion. She was the most pessimistic of the 5, always worried and concerned about even the tiniest details. Perfection and accuracy were her watchwords. McCullough turned to the group. If you're with Ashley, raise your hands. 2 hands went up in the air, Ashley and Tatiana's. I'm sorry, guys, you're outnumbered. Now, let's ensure we have the supplies we started out with and let's stick together. He shook everyone's hands firmly. Let's get this 4-wheel drive on the road. He clapped to dismiss them, and 5 minutes later, they were crammed in the truck heading toward Kansas. Hey, man, Bruno tapped his shoulder. Should I save a beer for you? He asked, mouthful of Pringles. Nah, man, I'm fine. Save it for yourself instead, Golden replied, making everyone laugh. Bruno rolled his eyes. He would have been the perfect tour guide if he wasn't usually indecisive. In the face of a dilemma, binge eating was his first resort. Wouldn't do me any harm, Bruno shrugged, sighing contentedly at Golden's refusal. The squad guffawed. As they neared the border of Kansas, a truck overtook them. Golden didn't bother to catch up, since it was late and he didn't want to risk it all for an accident. Normally, they'd all jump on the thrill wagon and reenact their own personal version of Fast and Furious. Bruno and Ashley had fallen asleep, snoring lightly, their heads resting on each other's. McCullough's eyelids drooped occasionally, but he tried to ward the sleep off by opening the window so that the cold air would bring him to consciousness. Hey, Golden, I think that truck is on our tail. Tatiana motioned to the approaching headlights directed at their car. I thought he was ahead of us, Golden said, watching the truck from the rearview mirror. I don't think he's following us. Maybe he's just headed our way. Besides, Tatiana, there's several trucks on this road, McCullough replied, brushing off Tatiana's words. I'm positive it's the same truck. And case in point, this is the only truck we've seen on this road in a while, she maintained. McCullough waved off her assumption. He was already battling with sleep and didn't want to add to his problems. Golden swerved to the right, taking a sharp bend. The truck followed closely behind. He hit the gas, increasing his speed. Tatiana looked behind. We've lost him. Told you he wasn't after us, McCullough stated proudly. But if only they knew how wrong they were. Approaching the border of the state, the truck appeared out of nowhere, grazed the fender of their car, and smashed their turn signals. The impact caused Ashley to jolt out of her sleep. Her eyes shot open in alarm. What's wrong with this guy? Golden asked, his jaw ticking. It's just the 2 of us on the road, and yet he can't maintain his lane. He had the urge to collide with the truck with a greater force, but that would brew more trouble, he reasoned. He sped up, but the truck was right on their tail. Bruno still snored soundly, much to the surprise and annoyance of everyone. "I was right, McCall. Y'all should listen to me next time," Tatiana cried out, an eye on the truck. "No, it's me you all should have listened to," Ashley interceded. "I told you guys that traveling this late wasn't such a good idea. I told you guys to pitch a tent and let's travel tomorrow." The truck collided with their car again, almost sending their car off the road. "Make camp at the roadside and get robbed?" Golden asked, voicing his father's warning which rang through his head at this moment. "Brightest idea of the century, Ashley," he concluded sarcastically. "Probably this whole Kansas route was a bad idea," Bruno said quietly, finally rousing from his sleep. "Says the Alpha GPS," Ashley mocked, flipping him the bird. "Not now, guys. Let's join our heads together and come up with a strategy to outsmart this lunatic on wheels," McCullough intervened. Golden exceeded the speed limit, swerving left and right, intermittently switching lanes to confuse the truck driver. He decided to try something risky. "Hey guys, seatbelts on. Brace yourselves," he instructed. He did a mini turn backwards. The adrenaline coursed through his veins, making his hands throb excitedly. He swerved around the truck and then overtook it. This worked in confusing the truck driver and keeping him at bay.
Yeah!
They all cheered, giving each other high fives. They drove farther, sighting a motel ahead. Suddenly, the truck appeared again and collided with their car, successfully shattering the windshield. It collided once more. Golden lost grip on the steering, and the great impact sent their car reeling. A white light flashed before their eyes, blinding them. The girls shrieked in despair, hands shielding their eyes. Their four-wheel drive somersaulted and landed in the thick woods nearby. Hands over their ears, eyes shut, they waited for the sound of an explosion, but none was heard. "Is everyone okay?" McCullough inquired. Someone groaned. The rest wiggled out of the car through Golden's side, dragging him out with them. He groaned. His chest had hit the airbags with so much force that it was possible his rib cage would crack as a result. Ashley got down on her knees to assess the extent of damage done to Golden. She was a fresh graduate from med school. Her eyes watered. "Someone get me a flashlight," she ordered. Bruno searched the car and found a flashlight. He shone it on Golden, who was still groaning. His head was bleeding, his gums too. And he spat out blood. "Oh no," Tatiana cried. She looked away, not used to the sight of blood. A slam diverted their attention toward the road, which had now stood still. The truck which had pursued them earlier was parked there. Someone stepped out of the truck. They squinted their eyes to recognize the person, but couldn't. "There's that mad driver. I'll show him." Ashley charged forward, blinded by rage, deaf to the protests of her two friends. But when she reached the truck driver, she found a lifeless woman, spiders crawling from every opening on her face. She screamed. Bruno ran towards her to see what was going on, but the other two did not see him come out. "What the fuck just happened?" Tatiana asked, gulping in fear. "I don't know, but we've got to get out of here," McCullough said, grabbing her arms. "But Ashley is probably dead. We need to get out of this place. Quick, to the motel," he cut in, dragging her forward. The dazed girl nodded blindly, and the two ran towards the motel. Just as they were about to approach the gates, they heard the revving of an engine, making them turn back. It was Bruno in the truck, but he was different. There were no eyeballs in his sockets, and he had a mad grin on his face as he rammed into the two.
Subscribe today or beware.